RTD late talk. RTD live talk. It's been a minute. Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. Excited to be back for a Monday night edition, the 6th day of the month of December. Hope everyone is well. Looking forward to connecting and finding out what's on your radar. What have you guys been keeping an eye on? Lots of things worth touching on. So let's do that. So as always, let me check in real quick via the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. Any first-time viewers, let me know via chat or when the phone lines open up, 313-462-0027. We'll love to hear from you and find out what have you been keeping an eye on. And so, wow, what's happened over the last several days? A lot. We have more of the war drums beating. We have more of the market manipulation. Things are relatively calming down. At the same time, more stimulus is needed. Nothing makes sense. But yet here we are at the end of 2021. And man, it's going to be an interesting year. Way to finish the year off. So as always, let me check in real quick via the chat. Go through a couple articles here. I got maybe 3 or 4 stories worth touching on. Of course, there's a lot more. Curious to find out what you guys been keeping an eye on. Then we'll open up the phone lines and find out what's been going on. So let me see. We got JoJo checking in. We got DC Precise. We got Gene checking in. We got Lala checking in. Pablo Pina. DC. We got Todd. We got Well Wisher checking in as well. We got Yukon. It looks like from Wyoming, if I'm not mistaken. How you doing, my friend? Appreciate you for joining us. Calypso checking in as well. The one they call Louie. What else we got here? We got Daryl checking in. King D. Monero Wana checking in as well. All right, man. Appreciate everybody for checking in. As always, want to make sure I give you guys a chance to let your voice be heard. So feel free to throw out some topics or any particular angles you guys want to approach to the discussion tonight in the chat. Let me know. I'd love to pull up those articles or any thoughts you guys want to share. And so a couple of things that caught my attention in particular today happens to be all the war drums beating with the Russia and China. A lot of Russia, China, news today based upon our stance, the U.S.'s stance against the events unfolding in the Ukraine area, as well as more information coming out as to what's really going on inside of China and how they're having some issues, and they're basically restructuring some things to try to keep their system intact as well. And Dr. Motor said tennis player Serena Williams is a man. Okay. Okay, that's a different subject there. I don't really have much of an opinion on that. But let's go through a couple articles real quick. Feel free to chime in what you guys want to touch on, and we'll just jump on it. But just some of the headlines that caught my attention. Here we have the U.S. and Europe ready. Significant and severe sanctions if Russia invades Ukraine. And so this story goes a lot deeper than what the headlines would tell us, but the U.S. has been pushing and just poking at Russia for a very long time with all the activity with NATO, basically already having prepared some type of war and military response towards Russia. And Putin, I'm not a Putin fan or whatnot, but he's been very cool, calm, and collective, not jumping the guns, literally speaking. Because I believe that Russia and China, they've been partnered for quite some time now. They have a plan B that they're going to pull out at any minute now. And I think all these events unfolding right now might be leading to that in some capacity, and has a lot to do, everything to do rather with the Federal Reserve note, aka the dollar, no longer being used by those two entities in any capacity in the near future. And I think this is all about trying to basically get to that next tier, the necessity rather for some type of military conflict, so that it can hopefully try to support the monetary system a little bit longer, because all monetary or all financial systems or economies rather are all having some issues with there not being enough liquidity to keep things going. So they actually need some type of event to unfold. Unfortunately, that it will probably come at the loss of a lot of life, but this is kind of what's happening here. And to just play on this even more, this is a headline that came out just giving a little bit more insight as to how it might play out. And it has to do with possibly, as they say here, Putin calls a nuclear option if the UK response about the SWIFT. Biden talks about Mullen cutting Russia from the SWIFT system as if Russia really needs it. They don't. They already have their own alternative payment messaging system along with China, and they've been using it for quite some time now. And I'm sure they were prepared for this well before now. That's why they decided to basically dial back all their uses for dollar denominated assets within this past year. So this stuff right here was probably all planned and right for this season heading into 2022. But it's just interesting how this is becoming a primary subject matter that's being thrown our way. All over the idea of Russia basically protecting their borderline from all the activity that's happening from the globalists. So just interesting to see how this plays out. But expect more of this type of activity to go on, and we'll just see how calm and collected those Russia and China can be. At the same time, the U.S. continues to egg on, man, looking for some type of conflict. But of course, a lot more to this story here, but just some things that caught my attention. And then, of course, we cannot not talk about China. And clearly, there's more information coming out as to the issues they're having with their real estate sector over there and all the debt. But here's something that is interesting because as China cuts reserve requirements ratio as the economy slows. So ultimately, they're jumping on board now, almost 2 years after the Federal Reserve decided to cut the reserve ratio requirements for the banks here in the U.S. So as of right now, the banks here in the U.S. no longer need to have any reserve assets on deck just because they were flooded with too much cash. So ultimately what that means is that there's literally nothing in bank accounts right now that people think are there. So if there was to be a rush upon banks, i.e. bank runs, there's no reserve requirements. So there's no extra cash just sitting around waiting to be withdrawn from the depositors. And so it looks like China's going to do the same thing to basically shore up a little bit more liquidity in their system because things are drying up as well. And so they're doing it with different tiers here, for major banks, for smaller banks, and for rural commercial banks. Each of those types of banks there are going to reduce their amount of reserves, or i.e. depositors' funds that they need to have on deck just in case people want to come collect their cash. So just some signs of more troubles within that country there because they're needing to provide a little liquidity for their banks there. But it doesn't stop there. It says China, Evergrande shares plunge as it teeters on the brink of default. So I think it was last week with talk with Mario, one of I think 7, 8, or 9 of these major retail or real estate developer companies have all basically reneged upon their promises to pay. And Evergrande is, of course, the biggest one with $300 billion, and they're having issues, and they're already exceeded some of the grace periods and whatnot. So this is not going to end well whatsoever. And this plays into why all this stuff is necessary, providing some cushion for the banks there. So, yeah, China's on the brink of going through some serious issues, and it won't be just a contained event in that region. It will spew out beyond their borders there. And then just more China news as well. Global financial meltdown fears as China's central bank takes action on spiraling debt. And this plays into that article I just talked about, reserve requirements and whatnot. Yeah, so debt is an issue there. They need more. And then here we have China spreading their tentacles, getting ready for, I guess, world domination of some kind. It says China trying to build first Atlantic coast warship base. And so this is in Guyana, if I'm not mistaken. And so first of its kind. But once again, this is what happens when empires die and new ones are formed. They need to spread their military presence around the world to basically shore up and to defend their own interest in the future. And this is what it looks like China's doing. But even though China's already, for the most part, taken over the continent of Africa in several regions, just like I think it was last week or two, I think it was Tanzania, if I'm not mistaken, basically lost their international airport to China just because they couldn't pay their debts. So it's not a surprise whatsoever. This was a part of their initial plan. Use all those dollar-denominated savings that they had to invest in Africa, heavily load up the African nations with debt. The crises happen. They can't pay their debts back. China comes in and swoop up all their assets. Perfect, I guess, a game plan, I guess, for those guys. But anyway, just more stories, a couple more stories here. Then I'll open up the phone lines. We can chit-chat, share my 2 cents on a couple stories. And not only in the last week or two have we had a lot of corporate CEOs, and especially last Monday when that whole Maxwell trial started, We had Jack Dorsey and then a couple CFOs from major corporations all calling it quits. They're resigning. And also at the same time, they're cashing out. So it says corporate insiders sold a record level of stocks in 2021. And so it just so happens to be very timely that they have a record level of stocks sold in 2021. At the same time, they're just basically exiting out. And to say that all the major indices were in the green today, at the same time, everybody who has heavy loads in it is dumping it. So they're either preparing for something, aware of something, or they're just front running something before it actually happens, which happens to be just some type of correction. I'm hearing more and more people talk about how things are really beginning to slow down. So just a matter of time before some type of event happens. That's why I also believe that all this war drums beating, it could help that. It could help fuel that next round of trillions needed to pump things back up artificially. So, but yet there might be a need for a correction or a sharp crash to then booster things back up. So we'll see. But no coincidence that all the billionaires are cashing out. They need to have some dry powder on the side so that they can get back in when things are extremely cheap. And then here's something I found to be interesting as well. It says Trump's SPAC under investigation by federal regulators, including the SEC. So we'll see if that whole media group that Trump is trying to get off the ground actually is launched officially. Because the question it was that I put out there months ago when this was introduced was, will it actually see the light of day? Will they actually be able to get this thing rolling so that they can have an alternative media source that speaks the truth and all that stuff like that, that Trump basically makes him even richer. So we'll see. But also to this, one of the congressmen today resigned. And I think it was Nunes or something like that, to become the CEO of this this media company that Trump's starting. So we'll see how it plays out. But Trump's back in the news for under investigation. How interesting is that? And then here's another one I thought was just, I couldn't pass this up. It says Biden pledges lower insulin costs under the Build Back Better. So it looks like Biden was out today trying to sell his BBB plan, or 666, as some people call it, plan. And of course, just the fact they use his headline here, lower insulin costs, as if like people say, oh yeah, sure, I'll jump on that extra 1.7 trillion just for some cheaper insulin costs. Yeah, okay, sure. But anything to basically paint a picture that is for the people, why not? Just put it out there. We'll see what happens. And then this is comical. ECB plans to redesign the Euro bills, decision expected in 2024. Like, why would Christian Lagarde come out mentioning this as if it really matters? Because they're going to basically continue to destroy the purchasing power of the notes regardless. And they're going to unleash some type of digital euro along the way. So, but I thought it was just interesting because they're trying to use it as a way of trying to make things look positive in their area. But that's not the case. And then, of course, this just plays on, this is a little bit older, but plays on to what I talked about earlier, how CEOs are getting out, selling a record of $69 billion. So that's, a lot of people are looking to have some cash on the side for something. And then this is where I hear talks about, this is an older article, but it plays into the Russia situation and being removed from the SWIFT system because they already have their own payment network. It's nothing new. But my suspicion would be Russia basically right now has everything in their favor because they're a country that's not overwhelmed with a lot of debt outside of a lot of their oligarchy families and business people having assets spread around the world that could be frozen, yada, yada, yada. But yet the ultimate a card that's in their favor is the fact that they are going to be the ones, along with China, are going to be the ones that puts the final nail in the dollar's coffin, just because they've made it clear that dollars is no longer a part of their future. So they no longer need the SWIFT system. So my guess would be that between now and the next couple months, we'll see how this plays out. I'd anticipate some type of conflict starting before then. But if that is the case, I can literally see China and Russia literally pulling the trigger, figuratively speaking, in regards to them back basically coming out with making that announcement of some kind, whether it be a gold back crypto, gold back something that basically just lets the world know game is over. It's time to move on. We're going to run the show now. Show us what's in your vault or else type of moves. And so I think Russia is basically going to use this to their advantage to further their agenda of basically decoupling from the dollar. The dollar, Federal Reserve note in particular, in my opinion, outside of it being need for the inner workings of all the debt markets and things like that, it has no true long-term future globally. So I think that it's time to pull the trigger. So therefore, if that is the case, I could be 100% wrong. Hope I am. It's just a matter of how much of your financial well-being is still dependent upon the Federal Reserve debt instrument itself. So that's just something to consider. So between now and yesterday, hopefully you have been taking advantage of the opportunity of actually getting your financial dealings in order to the best of your ability. And of course, that happens to do with the most underappreciated assets that they can afford to let run loose as of yet. But I think with Russia and China might have in their future plans, there'll be no way to hide these type of fictitious numbers any longer, because they'll basically blow away the paper games, get shenanigans, and there'll be a need for a real price settlement mechanism that won't be come from the West. And so $22 silver, of course, you're not going to find 22 silver. You're going to find 22 plus whatever premium you pay on it, as well as the gold as well. But as of right now, those are the only two assets that they refuse to let any type of free market price discovery happen, because if they do, game over. So it's in the West's best interest to continue this game as long as they can. And Russia and China, I believe, will call their bluff and try to do something to expose the true nature of those prices, because they've been accumulating gold for the longest as well as silver. So anyway, just my little 2 cents on that. But let's open the airways. Let's talk. Curious to hear what other subject matter you guys might want to touch on. And I saw a couple thoughts out there. Let me jump on them real quick. As always, for those that are tuning in, hit the thumbs up button, show your support for the channel. We'll definitely love to hear what else is going on. Autocorrect keeps correcting my ebonics. No more insulin. What else we got here? I saw a question out there. Let me grab that real quick. Pay me money bags. Great question or thought there. It says, Mike, you still down with Carrot Bars? So yeah, once Carrot Bars went towards the crypto space about a year and a half ago, I knew something was up, and I knew it was a matter of time before something happened, and of course it did. So when they stopped delivering gold, of course I still have some gold caught up in that system as well, but fortunately I was able to get a good portion of the business transactions that I was dealing with them with in my possession. So I don't stand to really lose much, and a lot of the community members that participated definitely got their weight up in gold. So as of right now, I see they're trying to rebrand themselves to V99 or something like that. But once they went solely crypto, that's when I knew something was up, because they started getting involved in more things that I knew they could handle. And on top of that, they were growing at a very fast rate, talking about the establishment. Being anti-establishment to me was a nail in their coffin. So me personally, I'm not in favor of it anymore, but it was useful while they were still in physical gold and delivering. So yes and no. Hope that answers your questions. Feel free to chime in your thoughts on it. Let me see here. Philman, it says a question. Thoughts on the best real estate companies, ECO firing 900 employees. Philman, so yes, I did hear about that. Let me actually jump on that more. I heard about that, but I didn't dive into it to find out anything in as far as the details. But I heard it was on an actual Zoom call. He had all the people on there and basically, got them on there and told them you're fired. So it's very cutthroat. That's very, as we would say, gangster. But clearly they went into that with the idea of wanting to cut cost. And once the world was forced to go towards that everything digital, working online, that right there was automatic sign that as a corporation, it's in your best interest to cut costs all the way around. Like, do you actually need people physically in a building, and how much of those jobs can be automated? So it doesn't surprise me. We all knew that the labor market is being rebranded right now. It's going towards automation, robotics, and the AI side of things. So it doesn't surprise me. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is, man. So I don't really, I do feel. Let me see. Let me see if there's an article. I do feel bad in a sense. Let me see, 900 employees. See if there's any article on that yet. I do feel bad, but yet it's to be expected. Okay, here's an article and pull it up right here. And then I do see that super chat as well. I'm gonna acknowledge that in 1 second. It says Better.com CEO fires 900 employees on Zoom call, accuses them of stealing. So as far as the stealing aspect, I don't know what they were caught stealing. Well, and I don't know if that's what second. Okay, I've done this. So yeah, that's very harsh, very rough, but it is what it is. So wish those people the best that were caught a part of that, but that's the nature of the beast, man. That's where we're at these days. All right, keep it moving. So I'm gonna open the phone lines in a minute and we can talk. Miles says De Blasio dropped the V bomb on NYC. Buy books to homeschool your young. So yes, unfortunate, man. I did see that. Once mandating mandating that chemical experimentation is never a good thing, but in California and New York, we all knew something was going to happen. Now it's a matter of how much further does this go before people realize what's really going on? Because surprisingly or not, man, the more I still see a lot of people in my circle that still drinking the Kool-Aid. They really think that there's overwhelmed or a actual health issue going on that is severe. So people are willing to think they're actually doing a service by obeying stuff like this. But it says De Blasio faces backlash over the mandate for private sector employees. So we'll see if this stuff stands. I'm assuming it's going to actually go to court somewhere. We'll see if it does stand, but doesn't surprise me one bit. Sad to say the least, but we'll see how this ends because I think it's what it said before December 27th, if I'm not mistaken. And so, on another note, in that regards to that same subject matter, whether it be, let me see, I put a lot of stuff on Discord as well as Twitter, but February 1st seems to be another date that a lot of nations are using. I think Italy, Greece, Austria, and another one. All the European nations that are, basically crumbling right now at the seams, they've kind of set like a February 1st. No, I think it was Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia set a February 1st. So obviously it just shows how in sync all of these countries are with the plan of putting these hardline dates in place, basically telling people 2 months in advance on what they'll have to do or else. And of course, there's fines, there's prison time. And it just goes to show how they're continuing to ramp this thing up, regardless of the fact that if you cut off the news and if you literally just went about your day-to-day life, most people have forgotten about, what I'm, this whole experience here. Most people, I don't think about it. It's unfortunate because it's not until it's brought up again, you're like, oh, damn, you know what I'm saying? That type of thing there. So they need to continue to remind people that you should be afraid, as if people really give a damn at this point. But then also, as a result of this latest, variant, it didn't produce the results I think that they were going for, because most people are not really concerned with it initially. But then again, it didn't create any type of market response outside of the initial day or two, and it really shows how they, meaning different nations and even different factions within the the global establishment of people trying to pull the strings, they don't seem to be too in sync because I'm assuming they were trying to create some market reaction negatively, but then it didn't last. And then you have other nations that are dialing back. A lot of resignations from, I think Austria's got a couple people in higher power resigning. So people are, they're not operating in sync right now, which is a good thing, because that goes to show that trying to pull off the greatest heist in humanity, both monetarily speaking, as well as socially, as well as governmental, is not easy. And I'm glad that it appears to be that they're not able to have their plan operate successfully. Lord willing, hopefully this thing continues to crumble even more, and they lose. I would, I want 100% for the enemy to lose. I am not for the Satanist demonic people to continue to try to destroy humanity. Says Roth says, yeah, but he ties Fauci to this since 2001 and entire Rockefeller Rothschild plan that began since the 1900s, the globalist New World Order and global depopulation. It is amazing. Yeah, and speaking of which, of course, always trying to learn more about the corporate structure of things and how the CDC. If you go to the CDC website, you look up some of the partners or contributors, and you see who all basically put up funds to promote their agenda. It happens to be it's so many family trust and the Rockefellers, the Bill Melinda Gates, and all the main players that are the primarily the benefactors of all these pharmaceutical companies. They're the ones donating the most funds to the CDC. So once again, conflict of interest. Can we say, yeah, something's not right here, but it is what it is. Anyway, I'm rambling too much. Let's open up the phone lines. Let's talk. Let me get this up here. Yeah, lots of stuff to touch on. Curious to hear your take on things, but I just, for some reason, I believe that we are drawing towards some type of, I wouldn't say grand finale, but some type of, what is it? Man, what's the word? Like, I'm drawing a blank. But what type of when things begin to escalate in the movie, like right when things the music comes on and something's about to hit any minute. You just start in the movies, people start looking because something is about to jump off. I think that's kind of where we're at right now, heading into 2022. But yeah, we'll see how it plays out. But I outside of having talked about this stuff crescendo, outside of having talked about this for so long, I still relatively have a sense of peace and calm about it. I'm not like, whoa, doom and gloom, the world's coming. No, it's just like, man, it's just another bump in the road. Take your lumps if you need to. Move on. God is good regardless. Hello, Carlos. See where you calling from.
Hi, good evening. This is Latrice calling from Brooklyn.
Latrice, what's going on with you?
I'm doing well. Okay, I'm gonna make it quick. Few thoughts. First of all, good to see you. It's been a while. I just want to comment on your little, the new little videos, the little short videos you have.
Yeah,
I like it, and I don't.
Yeah,
but I like it because you're being creative, right?
Yeah.
But I don't like it because I don't know. I'm just not ready for the automated stuff.
I understand.
Okay, so that's a little bit of feedback. But anyway, So I just want to touch on a few things.
Yeah.
Okay, so with the new variant, I don't even know if it's okay to say the word, but since we know the name,
give us the code. Give us the code name for it. Or you talk about the new variant. The new variant name is out.
Yeah, the OC.
The OC. Okay, I take that. The OC. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so the first part, the OMI, and then the last part, CRON.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that doesn't bother either. But
right.
But anyway, that might mean because when you look at the word OMI, it has to deal with computer systems, and then what the last part, it has to deal with cardiac issues. So basically, overall, it could mean a signal to give for to have heart attack or have cardiac distress.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that could be one signal that they're putting out there because they put stuff out there in plain sight.
Right.
And then the other thing could also be, because I've been looking into a couple of things. Okay, so some of this might be linked into the metaverse. And it I know it sounds weird, but there was a movie back, I think it was like in the 60s or 70s that came out with the same title of the variant. And it dealt with a person that was supposed to be, they was an alien inside of a human, and they was like an imposter. It was imposing, and they was like a secret agent, so to say. I'm paraphrasing everything.
Right.
But basically, they were here to basically spy so that they knew when they could have the so-called invasion, quote unquote. But anyway, so now with the metaverse thing, long story short, being that the metaverse is dealing with having to upload into this virtual reality your consciousness, it's going to be in a way. This is what I'm theorizing. I believe it's going to be in a way where they're going to be able to be like snatch your soul, right? Where because your soul will be digitalized, so to say, and it'll be just like the Matrix. and where your subconscious will be uploaded along with your conscious mind into the metaverse.
Right.
Once you're in the metaverse, you'll get locked in there. There's 2 episodes on Black Mirror. I can't think of the names of it right now. That one of them dealt with a guy. He went into this thing where he went to go for like experimental game trial, and they had an interface, and it messed with his mind so bad, and he ended up dying. And it only took him 4 seconds to crash inside this computer program.
Yeah.
Then there was another one where this guy, he created something like his own version of Star Trek.
Yeah.
And he was doing it from getting people's DNA, and he was able to digitize them into his own alternate reality where he was the captain of the ship, and he ended up getting trapped in that too, right?
Yeah.
Last thing with that point, Inception. If you remember the movie Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio, it dealt with dreams and all this stuff. And in certain parts of the movie, at one part of the movie, it showed where they was able to go from one dream state into a deeper dream state.
Yeah.
And they had to have these little tokens to help them be able to bring them back. And if they didn't come back in the right like layer of time and everything, they could get trapped inside the dream.
Yeah, yeah.
And then their reality be altered. So I'm trying to put it all together to say, that's what I'm saying, I'm theorizing about what the metaverse might be.
Yeah.
And how now that they're moving into this thing where there was this game, I seen it on this web somebody's channel, but it was a game called Nomad Soul, and they were saying that basically being that the evil spirit was being unleashed. This is in this game, Nomad Soul, with being that this evil demon spirit was being unleashed. It had lost its powers from all the time. It was trapped, and then it needed to get what they said, the juicy soul. So they was looking to get people to come inside of this, like something like a matrix, which is the Nomad Soul, and then that's how they was able to do basically human sacrifice, but instead of it being where they kill you and it's flesh and blood and everything all over the place, it's just they snatch your soul out your body.
Yeah.
So I know it sounds like really rambled and kind of like, conspiracy theory or whatever, but I'm throwing that out there because being that the way everything is going and they're getting ready to do the reset. The reason why they talk about the war is because they want to, push everything into the new agenda. We already know one world government, one world ruler, one world religion, one world economy. So everything is just moving into that. But with the metaverse thing, I would just like, everybody want to be into all this crypto and all this digital. We need to slow our roll because what they got for us is nothing good.
Right. Appreciate you calling as always. Thanks for sharing your thoughts.
All right. Thank you. Have a great night.
Yep. Yeah. Yes. That's a whole nother layer of subject matter there. Digitizing everything. And of course, we're here by design because they want to take everything from the natural, put it into the virtual reality, because that right there is a whole nother way of spinning off profit. It's all about profit. Profiting is monetarily being able to monetize everything, everybody. And then on top of that, even more so, the evilness behind it of literally being able to play God inside of some type of digital reality that everybody will be brought into. Some by choice, others by default, just because a lot of the things that they're going to roll out as far as the benefits, rewards, and pleasures, and even what's even funnier now, I'm hearing about people who actually have their jobs, their actual jobs inside of some metaverse world. Actually, like they put their glasses on and go to work. I'm thinking like, damn, like that's serious. Like, where you literally are inside of some type of video game doing some type of task or something throughout the day, in the form of work, get compensated for it. So yeah, it is what it is, man. But this is about adjusting to the new world that's forming around us while still remembering how we're here and why we're here and what this is about, which is ultimately a war against the human soul. Anyway, let's keep going. So miss some calls. Feel free to give me a call. Let's talk. Lots of subject matter to touch on. When they debt, we're off. Let me see what we got here. Philman, it says, in the new system, will light companies fuse into one like Coca, Pepsi, Pizza Hut, Domino's, etc. will be businesses, competition end? No. Philman, great question. So no. So all these brands that are now in the real world, they are now vying for space in the same capacity that they're out here in the real world inside the virtual world. So they are already basically investing in marketing and property and all types of crazy stuff with their brands inside of there, vying for your attention. Ultimately, it boils down to just getting your attention so they can then get your finances. They want to basically have their hands in your pocket. They want you to be able to consume inside the games the way you do here. Now, as far as how would you enjoy a Coke in a metaverse, I don't know. How would you enjoy a pizza inside a metaverse? Your avatar or whoever you're acting as within that world, I don't, it wouldn't have to eat, but just, in a social environment, I would imagine if you were to say, for example, to have a house party in the virtual world, you invited your buddies over, it would probably be common to have, as a social status symbol, having some different brands available for people to mimic, eating, drinking, all that, real world stuff, but happen digitally. So, and that's the thing, because this is it's whatever the human mind can think of is what's possible. So within this alternative reality, the human mind is capable of just coming up with some of the most craziest as well as innovative ways of engaging with other people. So yeah, and that's the part that to me is exciting. It's exciting to see the human mind. How far can a mind go? But then it's concerning because the people who are funding this, the people who are controlling the computer code behind the scenes, it's whatever their intentions are that concerns me the most, because they're literally designing this to have you consumed in that world to where you don't want to come out. And just to show you how easy it might be, is that just think about how much time you spend on your phone now, casually, or whether you're working or whatever, or in front of a computer. It takes up a good portion of a lot of our time. Now, would it be easier, instead of having to scroll with your fingers, you could just put something on and put something on and just speak out loud or whatever, and stuff pop up. So it's going to be a lot more enticing for people to get sucked in than we could all imagine. Anyway, I'm rambling too much. Let's talk. Feel free to give me a call. What else is happening out here? Lots of stories going on, man. We are in the midst of something very interesting. Says Mike, it wouldn't surprise me if people literally will be lining up to have chips planted in their head so that they can merge with the metaverse. Um, at this current moment, nothing surprises me. Like over the last 18 months, it started off at just 15 days to slow the curve, and now it's at 600, and I think it's 670 some days. And now even there's talks in the EU about the need to remove the whole Nuremberg Code, all that stuff, remove that from the books, because in Europe they're looking to make sure they mandate everything. So literally by spring or summer of next year, Europe could be completely in complete lockdown, where things taking place there that we could never imagine. And then it just puts us here in the United States of America in a position where hopefully people will see what's going on around us. And that's why I think it's important and I do this as best I can. I share stuff on all my personal little social media platforms, just so people can get news outside of their regular, preferred news streams, because most people are right now focused on sports and whatever. They don't know what's happening in France and how you got actual officers walking around asking you for your passport code. And if you don't have it, you're carted off. Or they don't know that starting next year, you're going to have to pay, or you're going to be in prison if you know what I'm saying? So if people were to see that, then they'll realize slowly but surely that, hey, is this really about health still, or what? And that's what I'm trying to do, man, just to get as many people as possible to wake up and realize that, the greater agenda has nothing to do with health. It's all about control. It's all about restructuring the entire planet so that the people who have destroyed our lives can continue to have some type of fake lordship over our lives. So, but anyway, it is what it is, man. Keep it moving. Pesky Nuremberg Code. Yeah, tell me about it. It says, Calypso says, little do they know we are already in a digital matrix. The metaverse is prison. Good stuff. Check it out, Dr. Aiden. So, Dr. Aiden by B.O.B. So check it out. Yeah, so I did see a clip about Dr. Aiden. And yeah, so that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of medical professionals that are willing to lay it on the line and put their reputation, their career out there to speak truth. And so those are the people I do seek out to hear their story and to learn more about the health implications of people who participate, and how there's different levels of vials out there and different batches, and to produce different results. And yeah, like it's no longer conspiracy, man. It's stuff is real world events unfolding right before our eyes. And I try my best to share it with family and friends that are still on the fence, not quite sure what they're going to do, just so hopefully they'll have a chance to have a well-rounded viewpoint as to what's really going on. So hopefully you guys are doing the same as what I'm getting at. Lightning for these says, RT Mike, if when CBDCs come into play, do you think many LCSs will become some type of underground secret shops? LCSs. Do you think many LCSs, local coin shops, okay, will become some type of underground secret shops? Great question. Do I think yes or no? I do think, because there's already right now a parallel economy right now that I'm not aware of, just because as of now your car still swipes and cash still is accepted, but there's already, and it's called the dark web. So the dark web, which has been frowned upon and shunned by government officials and even people in the mainstream light, because they made it seem like the dark web and then all that other stuff, what requires more investigative work to be able to function in, is illegal, because most of the activity that we know of might be illegal, because look who's telling us it's illegal. But the dark web and things like that will become very prominent, and people will use that. And I wouldn't be surprised if your local coin shops also operate on that same realm. But then also, once we get to the point where gold and silver is exposed as being money, and the more people locally here realize how the world is shifting away from dollars, and they're using gold in particular and even silver as the anchor or the standard to begin building or restructuring their economies upon, as well as the CBDC stuff as well, more people will be very interested in gold and silver. Therefore, local coin shops may not necessarily be as plentiful, because they are just businesses in general. But I think there might be even more of a barter economy of people who are aware and awake as to what gold and silver really is, and doing business the same way that a coin shop would. So if you wanted to sell or to exchange your metals, you can still get paper if you want it. You can get a crypto version if you want it. So I don't think coin shops will be as plentiful, just because they're businesses. And as a part of this whole tax restructuring plan, as a part of this infrastructure plan and how tax reporting and stuff like that, they may be done away with in the future somehow, some way. Because a lot of coin shops I'm familiar with, they only operate in cash anyway. So they'll probably still have operations, but they won't be advertising it. So once again, you'll have to be going underground in a sense to get that done. Prices says, Mike, you think an event will occur before December 25th? Great question. Anything is possible. I wouldn't necessarily, pinpoint Christmas as an event day. What I anticipate happening this winter. Now, it doesn't have to be, December 25th, but before we get into spring and the seasons change, heading into a time where there'll be a greater chance of resistance, because once the weather changes here in the north, more people be outside, more people want a vacation. They're not going to be paying attention to the news as much. So this winter, I think, is going to be pivotal for the evil people trying to create as much fear and panic and to pretty much shift the narrative in their favor. So I'm expecting some type of bank event. Now, reason I say that is because that Cyber Polygon event is still on the table. World Economic Forum came out with a new video saying that climate change could impact the banks. Let me actually grab that real quick. And so climate change impacting the banks, to me, would sound more like some type of winter, weather, cold front, freezing the grid, type of event, than like, sometimes something in the summer or in a later time frame that people really wouldn't care about, because you'll be outside enjoying yourself. So long story short, I can see this winter, some type of, cold front coming through, knocking the power out, and they using that as an event to take it further than just an isolated local, city event, and it'll be a dark power outage, and they use that. And so I could see some type of event before winter ends that would basically elevate elevate their plans to some next level. And financially, I think they could use some help because things are slowing down. So they can blame some event in China or some weather event or some Russia event as the reason why. Therefore, we need more stimulus because even though they're talking about taper, they're talking about raising rates, it's not going to happen. There will be an event before we get to the first hike. They're going to try. They'll give a date. They're going to give a date like, June 1st, June 2nd, the first hike. There's going to be an event before then, just because it just seems too timely. Because the system has to continue to expand debt-wise, credit-wise, or it just contracts on itself. Yeah, long-winded rant, but you get my point, hopefully. Silver stacks, buy gold, precious metal, silver, and lead. Let me see here. So I see some more questions. And forgive me, I missed some calls. Yeah, I will stop ranting more and let you guys talk. Give me a call. World population 1900 was estimated 1.56 billion. Walmart, Sam's, Costco, Aldi Corporation is owned by one person. Okay, so Isu, I wasn't familiar with that one. One person, the Federal. The Federal, finish that off. The Federal Reserve or Federal who? Let me know. On another note, so Gene, appreciate you. Yeah, definitely hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed the rant. And just in general thought, I was thinking about the events that we've all experienced over the last 20 years, and I was thinking like how, in having just regular conversation with people and just trying to explain how, the events we're experiencing now is designed to be a long-term event. Not just some type of, we're going to get back to normal. No, we're at a turning point in history. A lot of people I'm watching now, the fourth turning, a decade long of change and restructuring into some new world reality. Okay, sure. But I was thinking about how long the war on terror lasted. So it was from the time the events occurred with 9/11. Literally, all those events came full circle and came to an end in September when the U.S. pulled out of Afghanistan. So that was 20 years. That was 20 years of just a complete globalist heist of the economy. 17, 16 or so, whatever $1 trillion worth of currency created, pockets lined up to the wazoo. Everybody in that Boys and Girls Club of the higher ups got paid, and there's been more billionaires created since then than any time in human history. Cost of living has gone up substantially. Everybody who was planning on retiring, parking funds, the returns have been nowhere near what they would have been for our great grandparents. So the greatest heist, monetarily speaking, has already taken place, and it took 20 years to get us to this point. And so I'm thinking like March 2020 was day one of what, if they succeed in their plans of trying to basically politically, socially, financially, you name it, restructure the world, it would literally be another decade plus to really pull that off in the way that they want to. And so that's just a way that I try to describe what's really at stake here. Like, this is I wouldn't say it's not the end of humanity, but it's the end of the world we've known. Things will never go back to being the same. It's just a matter of adjusting and looking for the good within all of this evil. And then that's why I get to the point of how important it has been for a spiritual revival, spiritual awakening, because along this journey, there's going to be a lot of lives lost just out of sheer ignorance, as well as people living in denial, just because people do not want to believe that the people who are responsible for this happen to be the very same people that we thought we were electing to put in office, that they are the ones that are the puppets for, globalist interests, bankers' interests, you name it. Every war is profiting somebody, but it's not the people. And this current war that we're in now is the war against humanity. And it's very sad. It's very dark and doom and gloom. But then again, there's light in all of this, and it happens to be in the body of Christ. Like I was just, at church, you always get a good word, but just talking about how we are the light. We are the light in this very dark world. And if we meaning, other believers, if we don't remain conscious of that, always talk about that, speak that, we ourselves can lose our dang mind being caught up in this foolishness that's taking place all around us. And it's one of the things where, I've been more encouraged to speak on my faith than I ever have before, just because, looking at the greater agenda, people need hope. And hope will not come from anything in this world. It won't come from your employer, won't come from your loved ones, it won't come from anybody but the good book, which basically is the instructions that we have for this life and life thereafter. So anyway, that was just a little long rant, but something came to my mind. Yeah, appreciate that. Facts. Yeah, man, this is what's going on. The real world. But it's a good time. Says, when is the karma for all the aborted babies going to hit America? King D. Don't know. Don't know. But I think that's a part of the long-term plan that God has in store for all of his workings that's in play right now. Mind you, everything we're experiencing now is not a surprise to the creator. It's in alignment with his eternal plan. And whether we understand it or not, literally we have a part in this. So it's like, that's why only through faith in something greater than yourself will you be able to find some type of reassurance that this is still a good opportunity, good timing for everybody. But speaking on the abortion situation, so I was listening to people talk about the whole Roe versus Wade case right now that's being heard before the courts, and how it just seems very interesting how this event, 50 so years old, is being brought up right now at the same time that governments are trying to basically impose their mandates upon humanity, but they know they can't fully do it just because it's illegal. It's unconstitutional. There's no way they can spin it where it would make sense so they will be valid before the courts of the law. But then again, Roe vs. Wade, I think, can change that. So I was just listening to some people. I haven't dived into it. Feel free to chime in if you know more about it. But the idea of my body, my choice, that right now is a concept that stands in the way of the globalists being able to execute their plan of mandating with force people to inject themselves with this experimental situation. So if they were to just change the legality of Roe versus Wade somehow, some way, maneuver some things, alter some things, then basically say that your body is not your choice and you're not able to take human life, and at a certain time frame you can't kill a baby or whatever, and then people will celebrate the definitely the Christian community, the church will celebrate, yes, 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 yes. But then again, in that restructuring, they're going to find a way to say that your body is not your choice, your body somehow is not for you, and in doing that they're going to also be able to say that your body's not your choice. So for the greater good, national emergency, yada, 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 you now have to do this because it's not your choice anymore. So it's one of the things where I'm not too well informed in how all that lays out, but choice is one thing that they're trying to alleviate with this whole Roe versus Wade situation, so that they can then step in and say choice is no longer an option because you have to, because the government said so. And I think that's what all this is about, because it's just not coincidence that they're addressing this at the same time this empire is ending and they're trying to execute their game plan on humanity. So just another little rant on how do we actually want Roe versus Wade to be overturned at this point in the game, because we still want choice for our bodies. And if we give up choice and they somehow find out the way to maneuver the law in their favor, then that right there plays to their agenda. So let me see here. It said Tony B says you gave your choice when your mama signed you up for a birth certificate. Yeah, but once again, I think TB, and feel free to chime in on this, but that was not voluntary. I knew nothing about that. So I was literally forced into something or born into something that I had no, I had no awareness of that contractual agreement. So now that I'm aware of it, I would love for the opportunity to opt out. Like, that's one thing I would love to do, is opt out and just say, you know what? I don't want to participate. No, thank you. Just put something on my door. Please do not disturb. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we didn't have the choice. But I will be concerned that they don't want people to come into that revelation and in a whole as realizing that this is all a sham, that we were duped, and that our actual birth certificates and our social security numbers, they are actual bonds that are basically tied to our future labor, and therefore we're already slaves. We were born into a form of slavery already. I don't think they want people to know that, so that's why I think they still would keep some things hush hush. So that's just my little 2 cents. But anyway, I'm rambling too much. Forgive me. But just enjoying myself a little bit. Okay, missing all types of calls. Forgive me. I gotta figure this out. And so, okay, so let me just rant a little bit, rant some more. So, I do see the comment. I do see the comments about the AI mic, whatever. I enjoy playing around with technology. I'm a techie at heart. So finding ways to reach more people in a different form, I get a chance to play with things. I enjoy it. And one of the things, the reason I do is because there's so much information I would like to get out, but the time to get it done is just not abundant. And so I'm trying to find ways to share tad bits and share nuggets. Definitely, I'm just one person with an opinion, but there's buku experts out there that offer valid points or whatnot. And that's why I bring those articles to you guys, just so you can hear the school of thought from other people who are well versed, informed, educated, and all that stuff, just to give you more to to chew on. So I'm always trying to find ways to connect with you guys to hopefully offer some value to you. So that's why I offer those things, but they're not for everybody. So feel free, if you see the avatar mic, if you don't, just don't click on it. Just leave it alone. So I'll find it good. But then again, some people do enjoy it. And then also, I'm also looking for other content creators, because I know out of, say, 190 or so people tuned in right now, there's a lot of smart cookies out there that just don't have the opportunity to share their passions or share their angle to what's going on in a format such as this. And so I could use some help, people. Is what I'm saying. And so if we have people out there that would like to, or already creating videos, send me some videos. I would love to share it with the community. Or once again, I could use a co-host for the show. I would love to have somebody rant back and forth, because two is better than one. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always trying to find new ways to elevate my game, get better, and stay sharp. So feel free to suggest ideas, and of course join the Discord page as well as the Telegram, because those communities are always active. People sharing stuff all day long. That's how you can stay plugged in and stay informed. So basically what I'm getting at, I'm just one person. I'm just the messenger. I don't want to be the message. I don't want to be that guy who, if I don't show up, the show doesn't go on. I want the show to go on, because I'm just, I'm trying to be the one that, bring us together, because we're all like-minded. But then again, I don't want to be that guy that if I don't stream one day, then we don't get a chance to connect. So I want to make sure we always can connect. So there's other people who want to connect. Let me know. The Mike and Miles show. Miles, holla at me, man. Let me know if you do video content. I would definitely love to see if we can work something out. And our birth certificate is worth money. You can look it up to see its value online. I've heard people say that. I've never been able to. I've never dived down a rabbit hole to find that out officially, just because I'm thinking, like, somebody told me that each bond, each certificate is a bond is worth $1 million or something like that. And then I think I've heard people say that they've tried to collect on it, but I don't really think you gonna get a check from $1 million and then be able to opt out afterwards. So the telephone call in is good. Appreciate you, Gene. I enjoy it. And that's where, there's always opportunities to get more people connected. UCC account. Okay. So I've heard a little bit of that as well. And I've actually known some people who've, done some things and opted out. But then again, it's one of the things where everybody who did that, they're, not in the best financial positions to be able to really further take that to the next level. It's okay. So she's going to post a link in the Telegram community page. All right. So feel free. So Lala's going to put that in the Telegram page. So go check that out if you guys would like to. Tony says you cannot collect on the debt, only offset it. Yeah, I would love to offset it big time on my end. But anyway, let's get about the hour point, man. So we'll get ready to dial back. But as always, it's great to connect. I enjoy being able to hang out with you guys. Appreciate you for blessing me with your time as well as your insights. And I want to encourage you, keep the conversation going. Head over to the Discord page. Link is beneath this video here, as well as the Telegram. share videos, share articles, be there to encourage one another, because everybody in some capacity is going through something. We are, we are all we got, in a sense. So let's be a blessing to one another. Let's find a way to just, add value to other people, to the community, man. So it's good to do that. And also, as I always wish there was more I could do. Like, there's a lot of people out here struggling right now, in our country as well as beyond. Like, the homeless situation is going bananas, I'm hearing. So people not eating, people not being clothed and fed. I mean, just there's so much more that we can do, especially the body of Christ. Like, if we don't get it done, it won't get done. And so I'm gonna put my mind to ways of getting things done, and hopefully we can come up with some ideas, because I'm all about that. But all right, people, that's all I wrote for tonight. As always, I appreciate you for hanging out with me, and let's do it again tomorrow, same time, same place. Ideas, thoughts, suggestions, I'm open. Hit me up on Discord or Telegram, and let's connect some more, and let me know what you guys think. But other than that, be blessed, be safe, and may God be with you all, in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Peace. Visit Rethinking the Dollar throughout the day, your place for news on metals, gold, crypto, you name it. Scroll down to the bottom, and you'll get a chance to see the daily videos, the recommended videos, and more importantly, the 5 reasons to unplug from the monetary matrix, with the first one being the awakening period. Step number 1, test your dollar IQ. 10 simple questions, average is 60%. Follow up with the alternative perspective with the monetary reports. Consider becoming a supporter of the Rethinking the Dollar platform via Patreon. Get a chance to hang out off air, as well as additional information that can't be discussed on YouTube. Any support is helpful. With the crackdown on alternative media, the best thing to do is to connect off air. Scroll down to the very bottom. You can find Rethinking the Dollar on Telegram, audio, Facebook, Twitter, Parler, you name it. The most important ones will be the email list, where you can get notified weekly, the Discord page, and make sure you connect on Telegram. And last, don't forget to visit the RTD store, where you can get merchandise as well as additional information and resources. And most importantly, scroll down to the bottom and get your weight up with all the limited edition rounds only available on the RTD store.